Today, we celebrate this. World Marriage Sunday. World Marriage Sunday is always the second Sunday of the month of February. It's celebrated in about every country around the world. It is definitely celebrated in any diocese of the Roman Catholic Church around the world. It is to be celebrated in every parish and every diocese of the Catholic Church around the world. And whenever I think about marriage and I think about the priest and I put those two together, I always say to myself, it is so much easier to be a priest than it is to be married. Because I always think to myself, in order for my priesthood to work, all I need is the cooperation of just one person. As long as I cooperate with myself, my priesthood is just fine. But I pin that up against marriage, and I say to myself, married couples, it requires two people to have a successful marriage. They have to be in the same boat, rowing in the same direction, having the same goals and aspirations, and working together, not every so often, but all the time. A couple years ago, I went on a retreat for priests. All the attendees at that retreat were priests. And the subject of the retreat was this, and it was very important: how to maintain a healthy priesthood. Now, every speaker that was there, and the speakers weren't priests, and most of them were psychologists, but every speaker at this priest retreat on how to maintain a healthy priesthood, they always would conclude their talks with the answer to that question. How to maintain a healthy priesthood, and it was concluded it this way: you maintain a healthy priesthood by avoiding doing those things that aren't healthy. There's a lot of things that are not healthy in the priesthood, so you avoid those things and you should be okay. And when I look at that, I think to myself, I think the same question could be asked for those who are married. How many married people in church this evening? Raise your hand. That's substantial. That's great. But I think the same thought is true of marriage. How do I maintain a healthy marriage? The answer to that is simply this: you maintain a healthy marriage by avoiding doing those things that aren't healthy. You know what isn't healthy in marriage. You know what doesn't work in your marriage. And according to psychologists, the one thing that is very corrosive in a marriage is the silent treatment. Now, a lot of people revert to the silent treatment. When they're having an argument, that someone slips into the silent treatment. But here's the trouble with the silent treatment. For the person who is dishing out the silent treatment, it takes a lot of consecration and focus. And for the recipient of the silent treatment, it is painful and difficult. And when both the husband and wife decide, well, that's it, we'll just offer to each other the silent treatment, that makes for a very difficult living situation when you just literally walk by each other and pretend like you didn't even see them. That's painful. You're in the same house. You know, this husband and wife, one Sunday they're having a really bad Sunday. They just keep snipping at each other, saying little negative innuendos at each other. They just kept chipping away at each other. Finally, they decided to settle into the silent treatment, not saying one word to each other. It's nighttime now. It's time to get ready for bed. The husband remembers that the next day he has to get up for work at 5 o'clock, travel to the airport, catch a flight because he has a business meeting out of town. Not wanting to break the silent treatment, he writes a little note: wake me up at 5 a.m. And he puts it on his wife's side of the bed. Then he went to bed. The next morning, he is awakened by the sun shining into his bedroom. He jumps up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. He missed the plane. He'll miss the business meeting. He looks for his wife, but she already went to work. Now he's upset and aggravated. Why didn't she wake me up? And then he noticed a little note on the dresser next to his side of the bed. And the note said, it's 5 a.m. Wake up. She did what she was asked. But the silent treatment is extremely corrosive. And I know a lot of couples that subscribe to the silent treatment. Sometimes it lasts just a couple hours, and I've had conversations with people, husbands and wives, couples that have told me that the silent treatment can go on literally for weeks. I couldn't imagine being married to some lady where the silent treatment's going on for weeks. I would just hope we have a big house. How painful that is. So the statement is, how do I maintain a healthy priesthood? But that's not the objective for tonight. How do I maintain a healthy marriage? By avoiding those things in a marriage that aren't healthy. So what should we do that is healthy? And the church recommends this. The church recommends one of the things we do on World Marriage Sunday is have all those who are married renew their marriage vows. So if you're lucky enough to have your husband, your wife with you here at Mass, you're together as a couple, I would ask all the couples to stand. All the husbands and wives, if you're together with each other tonight. Now, if your wife or your husband isn't here tonight, for whatever reason, you could just simply, as we travel through this, close your eyes and think about your loved one and make this renewal of vows to them in your heart. So all of our husbands and wives, I'd first ask you to face each other, look right at each other, turn sideways. Now you're going to do something maybe you haven't done in a while. You're going to hold hands to each other. And you keep looking at your wife. You don't have to, I think you can hear me, so you don't have to look at me. Now here's what's going to happen, fellas. You're the grooms, and in the exchange of vows, the groom always goes first. So I'm going to say these words. Just listen to this. I'll say I. Then you're going to put in your name, whatever your name is. Take you. Then you'll put in your wife's name, and then we'll continue on with the marriage vows. I'll say 3, 4, 5 words at a time. You'll look right at your wife's eyes, and you'll repeat after me. So holding on to your wife. You're looking right at her eyes. I take you to continue to be my wife. I promise to continue to be faithful to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to continue to love you and honor you all the days of my life. Now, brides will go next. And brides, same thing with your groom husband. I'll say I, you'll put in your name and take you, then your husband's name, and then repeat after me. So let's go. Brides, I take you to continue to be my husband. I promise to continue to be faithful to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to continue to love you and honor you all the days of my life. The best way to end that is to seal that with a kiss. Kiss each other. Give all these married couples a nice round of applause. They be seated.